So this movie was produced as a possible TV pilot for Hammer, but eventually became a very interesting combination project between Hammer and a German studio. What really stood out for a lot of people is that it starred a very important American actor in the lead role. It's called To the Devil a Daughter, and let me say this in advance: it is a very scary movie. So if you're going to seek this out on YouTube or any streaming service, be warned, it's like The Exorcist, but a little bit more cerebral. Now, it's sometimes stylized to The Devil a Daughter. The 76 horror film was directed by Peter Sykes and starred Richard Widmark, Christopher Lee, and Honor Blackman. Natasha Kinski in her ingenue phase and Denham Elliott were also in the film. It's based on a 1953 novel of the same name by Dennis Wheatley. It follows an American occult researcher in England who attempts to save a young girl preyed upon by a satanic cult led by a fallen Catholic priest. Produced by Hammer and the West German studio Terra Filmkunst, the film was originally devised by Hammer as a TV episode in a series based on Wheatley's novels, which never materialized. Wheatley's book was subsequently adapted as a feature film co-written by Christopher Wicken. The film was shot in Bavaria and London in 1975 and features an original music score by Swiss-American composer, the great Paul Glass. It premiered in London in February 1976 and went on to become one of Hammer Studio's most profitable films in the 1970s. It's very good in all aspects, but very, very creepy. Now, it was the final film produced by Hammer before the studio was revived in the 21st century, and the last film by the studio to feature Christopher Lee until The Resident in 2011. Now, again, written by Wicken, John Peacock, and Gerald Von Hughes, produced by Roy Skiggs. Honor Blackman, again, is in the movie as well. Cinematography by David Watkin. Edited by John Trumper. Production companies were Hammer and Terra Filmkunst. Distributed by EMI in the UK and Constantine Film in West Germany. Released on the 26th of February 76 at 95 minutes. Countries included UK and West Germany, and the budget £360,000. Now, it starts off very quick when Father Michael Rayner, a Catholic priest, is formally excommunicated from the church for heresy. 20 years later, Rayner oversees the Children of the Lord, a mysterious religious order headquartered on a small island in Bavaria. Catherine Beddoes, a teenage girl, has been raised in the order of the urging of her late mother, who was a dedicated member. Catherine is formally released from the island convent by Rayner days before her 18th birthday. Meanwhile, John Verney, a famous American writer and occult expert residing in London, is approached at a book release party by Catherine's father, Henry, who asks Verney to pick up Catherine from Heathrow and temporarily entrust her in his care, claiming that the Children of the Lord is in fact a satanic cult from which he wishes his daughter to be saved. While Verney literary associates find the request strange, Verney agrees. Upon arriving at the airport, Verney finds Catherine, who is in a habit, and manages to intercept her from a member of the order who is escorting her. Verney brings Catherine back to his house, where he gleans information about her upbringing in the cult. Now, Henry phones Verney's residence and tells Catherine he will come to get her, only be interrupted by the member who escorted her, wielding a gun. He attempts to stop Henry before Henry shoots him dead. Meanwhile, at a private residence, Rayner, along with a nurse, oversees the pregnant Margaret, a member of the order who is going into labor. After she gives birth, he has her killed with a morphine injection. And again, this is probably one of the most scariest scenes in Hammer film. Now, the next morning, Verney is visited by his friends Anna and David and informs them he believes that the cult intends to use Catherine in a ritual on her birthday the following day, which happens to be Halloween. Verney leaves Catherine and Anna in David's care while he attempts to locate the London headquarters of the Children of the Lord, only to find it has been sold to a Christian organization. Meanwhile, the cult used black magic in an attempt to draw Catherine to her. She visits the St. Catherine docks, where Verney happens upon her, sabotaging the cult's efforts by ripping a sacrilegious Astaroth pendant from her neck. Verney attempts to convince the impervious Catherine that Astaroth is evil, triggering memories of the sex magic rituals the cult subjected her to, during which Rayner impregnated Margaret. Now, Verney gleans that the bishop who excommunicated Rayner that the cult are inspiring to prepare Catherine to become an avatar of the demon Astaroth, whom Rayner believes to be a route to perfecting human power and thus a true god. Meanwhile, under Rayner's influence, Catherine murders Anna before wandering the city streets, only to be led directly to the cult, who have welcomed the birth of Margaret's demonic infant child. Vernie and David visit a disheveled Henry, who directs them to a church to locate the metal pack he made with Rayner, which threatens Henry's life. The two men find the ghost of Catherine's mother rising from the church altar, where the pack pendant is hidden. David bursts into flames and burns to death upon touching the pendant, though Henry is saved. Now, Vernie tracks Rayner to an abandoned mausoleum yard where Rayner has laid Catherine on an altar and encircled it with human blood from another cult devotee, Evelyn, who gives her blood and life for the purpose. Vernie witnesses Rayner sacrifice the demon child in preparation for baptizing Catherine to become Astaroth's avatar. Vernie confronts Rayner, critiquing his beliefs and warning Rayner that he's misinterpreted the grimoire of Astaroth. Rayner asserts his confidence and offers Catherine, who appears as a nude spirit, to Vernie, who refuses the temptation. Vernie uses a rock, which is covered with the blood of a security guard Vernie defeated, as a talisman to defeat the protection of the circle of blood. Then Vernie throws the rock at Rayner, vanquishing him. Rayner vanishes into nothingness. Vernie manages to save Catherine, carrying her away as the two flee Rayner's circle of blood. However, Catherine has been partially baptized with several drops of blood, leaving her status in question and leave it open for a sequel. Now, Natasha Kinski plays Catherine, Honor Blackman plays Anna, Michael Goodliffe as George DeGrasse, Anthony Valentine as David Kennedy, Denham Elliott as Henry Beddoes, Eva Marie Meineke as Evelyn DeGrasse, Derek Francis as the Bishop, and of course Richard Widmark as Vernie and Christopher Lee as Father Rayner. Now, writer Christopher Leggett notes in his book Good vs. Evil in the Films of Christopher Lee, which was published in 2018, that the film's overarching theme is that of the devil's bargain, comparing elements of it to the bargain with the devil made in the German legend of Faust. Now, the film, again, was adapted by Wicking and John Peacock from the 53 novel of the same name by Wheatley. It was the second of Wheatley's black magic novels to be filmed by Hammer, following The Devil Rides Out, released in 1968. The project had originally been intended to be an episode of a TV series, again, based on Wheatley's novels titled The Devil in These Works. The television project never materialized, but actor Lee championed the novel, convinced it would make an effective feature film. EMI agreed to provide 50% of the budget, after which the West German production company provided the remaining 50%. Now, Ken Russell and Nicholas Roeg were considered to direct the project, and if they did, it would have been totally over the top to what it is. But Australian director Peter Sykes was hired. When the film went into production in 1975, Sykes derided the notion that the film bore any similarity to William Friedkin's The Exorcist, which came out in 1973. The films are similar, but not the same themes, because here you got a more active, let's say, demonic possession than what's kind of hinted at in The Exorcist. Now, the screenplay notably deviated from the source novel, which Wheatley disliked, finding the finished film obscene. He told Hammer that they were never to make another film from his novels. Wiccan called the film an awful mess. There's no real focus to it. He wanted to incorporate his DNA as part of the storyline, but said the film's British distributor EMI refused because they felt it would make the film too much like a science fiction movie rather than a horror movie. Michael Carassis said the film simply didn't work. The people who made it forgot about the ending. Carassis says he asked Nate Cohen of EMI for additional funds to do a new ending. I had it properly written out and we knew exactly what to do, but Cohen refused. Now, the film was originally scheduled to be in production in June 1974, but the camera didn't roll until September 1975, after a German company stepped in to co-finance and demanded that a German performer be cast in the leading role. This opened the door for the 14-year-old Natasha Kinski, and of course, the rest is Oscar and controversial history. In March 1975, it was announced that Lee had been cast in the film. Sykes cast 14-year-old Kinski as Catherine after seeing his performance in Wim Wenders' The Wrong Move in 1975, while American Richard Widmark was cast as the lead occult writer who attempts to save Kinski's life. This was Michael Goodliffe's last film, made shortly before he killed himself while suffering from depression. Now, filming took place again on location of Bavarian in London. Shooting locations included Heathrow and the St. Catherine Docks. Widmark was allegedly displeased with the production during shooting and several times threatened to leave and return to the States. Kinski, who was 14 years old at the time, of filming, controversially appeared fully nude on screen, which he later stated she regretted it. And under current, I think, obscenity laws, I think that scene would cause an X rating or be cut out entirely. Now, Swiss-American composer Paul Glass was hired to compose the film's score. Now, To the Devil's Daughter was released in London and in several English cities in February 76, including Nottingham and Bristol. During its opening week at the Odeon Leicester Square, the film earned £13,000, 375. It was screened in the United States later that year, opening Orlando on 20th of August and Rochester in September, and had a premiere in LA in October 76. The film was an overall financial success and one of Hammer Studios' most profitable releases of the 1970s. Now, the critics didn't really like it. Variety called the film a lackluster occult melodrama that seems padded and tentative, and though horrific in spots, the actual shock value is remarkably subdued. Linda Gross of the LA Times found the story a confusing vacillation between special effects, hallucinations, psychic trances, and ongoing narration, but thought the film was distinguished by engrossing performances, superior photography, and eerie music. Gary Arnold of the Washington Post felt the film was poorly made, writing that it seems to have been scripted, directed, and edited with extreme haste and negligence, as if the filmmakers had to keep one step ahead of process servers or the finance company. Critic Roger Ebert echoed a similar sentiment, writing that the screenplay has so many characters and they're in so many different places that the only way to keep them halfway straight is for them in by calling each other all the time. There are even several scenes in which a phone rings and no one's at home. No one on this earth, anyway. Now, Tony Ryans of the Monthly Film Bulletin praised the expert special effects and no-nonsense script and commented that Lee played his role with a gusto absent from his performances for many years. Leonard Maltin's Home Video Guide gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying it was well made but lacks punch. Time Out called it a good deal more interesting than the rest of the possession cycle, but still a disappointment. Now, in modern reviews in a 2020 retrospective, Paul Farrell of Bloody Disgusting noted that, though its screenplay is convoluted, the film works as a potent dive into the occult. It feels as dangerous as it should, built on performances that resonate and visuals that stick in the mind's eye long after the credits complete their elegy. As of May 2023, To the Devil and Daughter holds a 40% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 10 reviews. Now, Anchor Bay Entertainment released the film on DVD in 2002. Scream Factory released a Blu-ray edition in December 2019. As of May 2023, the Blu-ray sales have totaled 144,000 US. Lee's line in the movie, "It's not hearsay, I will not recant," was sampled by heavy metal band White Zombie for the song Supercharger Heaven. The film's title was also referenced by White Zombie in the song Black Sunshine, To the Devil, a Daughter Comes. So, as we like to say in the business, a lot of hype. A lot of people went to see it, and some of them were heavily disappointed because by the time The Exorcist came out, it was seen to be repetitive, even though it was put together before The Exorcist was even conceived as well. I saw it once, and 2 stars out of 4, very over the top, but I was really bothered by Kinski's nudity, especially when I heard later on about her being manipulated in the way she was. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's the last Hammer movie of the original Hammer Studio or a horror movie. If you like what we're doing with our Hammer reviews, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, if you see a Catholic priest at the door, don't leave him in because he might be up to something that's not in Catholicism. Have a good one. Bye.